Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. I am so glad to be here. It is a beautiful day in Charleston. It started out this morning like extra soupy, like super foggy, and now it has just turned into a beautiful day. So I'm really grateful for that. And it's February. It feels so good. We finished filing 1099s last night for our clients. So that feels really good. Not really a January fan, so really good to be in February now. And I'm really excited about this conversation today. I've got my notes right here, so pardon me as I get those pulled up. I'm just sitting differently because of the light today. But I really want to have this conversation with you about really, what did I title this? I called it like 3 takeaways from my biggest cash month and how you can steal them. So I'm really excited to talk about that because it also includes talking about my lowest cash month. So you get both. It's not like I'm just sitting here like, my biggest cash month, here's what you can take. But like, it's literally like, it was the month after my lowest month. So we'll go into all the details for that. But if you join live, I'm so grateful. There's a million places you can be. So as a thank you, anyone who comments or asks a question or drops an emoji, I will be giving away my masterclass, 4 Ways to Grow Your Business. So this is 90 minutes. I have it for sale on my website, but I definitely want to give it to someone who joins today and just give it to them as a resource because it is very robust. It has practicals and energetics, and it's for product or service-based business. So it covers all the things. So we'll be giving that away. So yeah, we'll jump right in. The reason I want to talk about this and go into all the details is I really want it to inspire people or, give them a different way of thinking or, just normalize talking about money, like the highs and the lows. Because I think we can get really fixated on the highs, especially being an online business and seeing what other people are doing. And like, it's so great to talk about money and to share our wins. And half the time online, we're just getting people's highlight reels. So I really want to dig into the other side of this. I just want to give you a new perspective, and I want to give you things that you can take in your business and use them. So that's the point of this conversation. I really want it to be for you. So please, if you're catching the replay, still ask questions, comments, whatever, because I really just want this to be something that you can use and take away. So we'll jump in. So we'll kind of talk about what this looked like first. So every year, January is basically our biggest year because we have all our reoccurring clients, all our clients are recurring with bookkeeping, advisory, and then I do some intensives every month. I usually do offer 2 of those. So those are just kind of like fun things, but my monthly recurring revenue is pretty standard. But then in January, we get a big boost because we do 1099s for all of our clients, and it's just extra work and it's an extra invoice. So other than January, this month, so it was back September and then October. So September was one of my lowest months ever. We had 3 clients leave at once. And the reason for that was one shut down. They were connected, like they started their business because of COVID and they were selling PPE, and that was the whole point of them starting the business. And they knew that like this wasn't gonna last forever. It was just to like get more personal protective equipment out to people during COVID that really needed it. So we knew that was coming. We knew one of ours that I let go. It wasn't a good fit anymore. They weren't responsive. It just wasn't a good fit. So I had given them like a 3-month notice. So that was the month that they were leaving. And then another client just kind of like up and ghosted me, just left. And they said it was because of the economy, but really that was when they needed my support the most. It was definitely like a fear and scarcity thing running the show, and I can still see it because we support them with bookkeeping, and I can kind of still see that showing up just in the bookkeeping. So we lost 3 clients in 1 month, and I had a ton of expenses hit. I had some branding photos that I got, and I have all these software subscriptions because I am an online business. And they all usually renew annually. And I even had some that were like every 3 years, and they just happened to hit that month. So it was just this like perfect storm of like, holy shit, like what just happened in my business? I feel like I had been like getting somewhere and like, making traction, and like I'd done all this work and everything was working out. And then I just felt like I was like backsliding down this huge hill. Like I had tears. And it wasn't tears because of like the money or anything like that. It was about this just feeling that like somehow, I was failing. And that's kind of like the mindset piece that I want to talk about. But so just to give you an idea, like that month, I just looked up my numbers because I don't have them off the top of my head, but typical total revenue back then was like 12 or 13K a month. And that month, I think I still had net profit of like around 6,000. So, not terrible, really, like, in the grand scheme of things. Now our revenue looks more like 18 or 19K. And then I have like 5 figures that I take home every month. And granted, those 5 figures, this year I switched to an S Corp, so that'll look a little different. Because a large portion of that 5 figures was saving for taxes because I was an LLC. So this year as an S Corp, I'm paying myself wages. So it'll be a little bit different how that looks for taxes, but I'm going to have to figure that out. But it's still, take home is still the 5 figures. So I was really making myself wrong for a long time, and this is the mindset piece I want to talk about. My profit margins went down for a long time. For the first 5 years of my business, it was just me. I worked in the morning, I worked during my kids' nap times, and I worked at nighttime. I had like strong gross profit margins and net profit margins. So when I talk about profit margins, I'm talking about basically the percentage of money you take home compared to your revenue. So a high profit margin means you take home more. Like say I billed 10 grand, I took home like at least 8 grand. So like most of it I took home. And then you've got some other businesses where, especially like product-based businesses where they have to buy inventory or have a big team or something, and so they might make a bigger revenue, but a lot of those costs go to the purchasing whatever product they're selling, so that really eats into it. So, I've seen businesses that are like 7 figures and the owners really only take home like 100,000 a year. I'm a service-based industry, so I am not into higher revenue with lower margins. Like that's just, I'm not available for that. Like if I, was $1 million business and only took home 100,000 having my business model, then like something would be very wrong for me. I like to keep a lean team, and still keep the profit margins relatively high, considering what we have going on. So we've hired a team, for a long time it was just me, and then I added bookkeepers. So the bookkeepers are part of the cost of the bookkeeping. So they get paid a flat fee or flat rate. It's 50% of what I charge the client. And to me, it's really important for them to be paid a flat rate so that they aren't punished for getting better and more efficient at their work. So that's why I like to keep that base 50% rate. And it just gives them, some continuity so that they know what they're getting paid every month. So that's really important to me. We brought on like a social media person, so I write all of my social media. I do the videos, that sort of thing. I do the stories, but she takes them and like actually schedules them and throws in the fun emojis or a link sticker or whatever. So that's her role. And then we have the website girl who's just kind of on a retainer to, she usually builds the landing pages for our master classes. So that's kind of the breakdown of our team. I don't see it getting bigger than that. Obviously you never know, but that's the breakdown of what it looks like now. So obviously for a long time, like my net income went way down because of all those added expenses. And I have a coach. So I believe in coaching so much and the work that I do. Like I have a coach to help me reflect my own bullshit because I have my own bullshit. I have a brain that likes to kick up normal human stuff. And to really help me like get out of my own way and like see things from a neutral perspective and, just kind of all the things that, this work that I do with clients one-to-one, like it's just so valuable. So I do the same thing. So that's kind of the team. And I was just really, for a long time, made myself wrong about the gross profit margin and the profit margin going down. So that's just the conversation I want to have and normalize. And I'm going to see if I've got it in my notes. But what we're doing and what I want to talk about here too is we're building a well-oiled machine. So now that we've got the revenue up higher, my expenses aren't changing. Like obviously with the bookkeeping, like, yeah, that will increase if we take on more work, but it's just a percentage of it. So I basically have this framework and this foundation that like these costs basically stay the same, but my ability to make more revenue is higher. So obviously that gross profit margin, net profit margin increases the more revenue I make, and my expenses stay the same. So this is like a conversation I really want to have with business owners because, oh rats, this isn't my notes for later because this is part of the strategy piece, but we'll go ahead and get into that now. That was kind of the mindset piece. Now this is the strategy piece, is creating that well-oiled machine. So as you're building a business and you do all the things and you are the person and you are doing everything at a certain point, like you either stop growing, like you cap at what you can do. And that's what happened to me with bookkeeping. It was like, I literally have only this much time and I can only do this much. So, getting team meant hiring, getting more support. So that cut in with the expenses, and that's what happens with business owners so often. And I see people make themselves wrong because it's that whole thing of what got you here won't get you there. And people like myself and other people are so like, I want to keep every dollar in my business. I'm so used to keeping like 80-90% of the money I make. Like it's really hard for me to part with that money and give it to someone else. But that is part of building that next level revenue that's going to get you to the next level, is being able to be smart about it. Like not just be like, oh, I'm hiring all over the place, but like really be intentional about your strategy and who you're bringing on board, and making sure that the task you're handing over create space for you to create more revenue. So that's something I work with on our clients all the time, is like, what is that intentional next hire? It'd be great to have someone like, go do this and update your website every month and stuff. And like, we do it for the masterclass, but it's not like I'm constantly like just paying people to do busy work in my business. Like it's literally like, doing this because it needs to get done and that's part of my strategy. And then I'm going to go do these other revenue generating activities. So we're really building a machine. Like when you think about a business, once you get to the point where you're capped and you can't do anything more and you're paying for team, you're paying more expenses in your business, you are building a machine that will get you so that when you get to that next level revenue, the expenses stay the same and that money is all yours to take home. So that is kind of the first thing with the strategy piece of, my highest income and cash month was I had built this well-oiled machine, and like it sucked for like over a year. It was like, okay, I'm building, and it's like I kept seeing, the expenses were higher, the revenue stayed the same, and then it finally hit, it's like the tipping point where all that work pays off. And so now it's like you're reaping the benefits of all that work that you've done and that team that you've implemented, because you have to have that foundation at a certain point to grow even higher. So that is strategy number one, is just creating a well-oiled machine and getting to that tipping point. And this is something I see the one-to-one work I do be so helpful, because it is so freaking hard to stay in that. It is so hard. And that's the work we do, is being really intentional about those next steps and then staying in it and seeing it out. And that pretty much feeds into strategy number two, is staying in the dang thing. It is so hard to do when you're not getting results, is to keep doing the same thing. And I am all about like not just running at something blindly, but like I'm a numbers person, I'm a data person. We're using the data to like test and tweak along the way, but the numbers and the data aren't changing our strategy. They might change how we do things a little bit and kind of how we, are marketing or talking to people or speaking to objections or whatever that is, but it's not like, let's burn the whole thing down and start over. Like, that's not what we're doing. But like being in business and not seeing results for what you're doing is just so freaking hard. And so many things in life, it's like action results. So I go order on Amazon, I know it's showing up, it comes to my door, action results. But in business, it is not like that. It is action results, or action results. Like it's not just that. And I'm all for that. I mean, sometimes it is. It's like, oh, I'll put up a sales post and like people call me. But it's not always like that. And so I just want to normalize that and let you know that like that is not wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. But really getting support to like just stay in the thing and use the data and seeing what it's giving you to make decisions. So I'm really getting into Google Analytics and Looker Studio and using the data with my clients and going there to see like where are people falling off, like what is the data telling us, because we could look all day online and somebody's going to tell us like, oh, you need this sales process or you need to be doing these TikTok videos or whatever, but like at the end of the day, it's our business. We need to know it better than anyone, and we need to know what it's telling us. And so we're using the numbers, ideating, you know, doing all these things together to really see like what's going to get the result that they're looking for. So that's the second one, is really just like trusting yourself, trusting your business, knowing what it needs, and, you know, use what it's telling you to really adjust and tweak. And then the third piece of the strategy and the third lesson that I really learned from this highest cash month on the end of the lowest net profit month was really just not looking so much at each month. And like we do that, you know, all of our bookkeeping clients, we send them reports. All of my one-to-one clients, we look at monthly numbers. But I'm not like hanging the hat on each one. It's not like, oh my gosh, this one was down compared to last month, or this one was down compared to this month last year. Like, okay, interesting, like something to note. And usually they can like come up with something that they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense because of this, or yeah, that makes sense because of this. And so it's something that we're like have on our radar, but we're not just like making it a huge thing every month. Now if it was like down, like kept going down, like that would be like skirt, like let's see what's going on. But usually, you know, business is like just up and down. Even me with like the recurring revenue every month, and I can pretty much project where it stays. Like we still have intensives, we still have client movement here and there. But it's the trajectory is going up, and that's what we're really focused on, and that's what I look with my clients on. So yeah, we're not like getting our panties in a wad about a low month, but we are looking at like, okay, what happened? Do we know what happened? If we don't have an idea, like let's start getting an idea and then seeing like what are we doing about that going forward, which some of it like you just can't control things, but making sure that we are doing the things that we can control and that they are taking the steps and have the strategies implemented and have things organized to run like a well-oiled machine and to keep giving us the data that we need so we can be like, huh, that's interesting. Like, you know, we've really been going in on Facebook and we're really not getting more, you know, traffic to your website from Facebook. Like we can look at all that stuff. So, you know, seeing like, okay, what's going on there? You know, or no one is, you've been doing this email campaign and, you know, there really aren't clicks to your website from the email. Like, let's look into that. So these are all like data and things that we're using. So those are kind of the three main things about this, was just the creating a well-oiled machine, you know, giving yourself the momentum, the time, the space to have that work for you. The second one is just keep doing it. Like I talk about this all the time because it's my favorite thing to talk about. Like it is shocking to me how many people tap out in business because something didn't work. They sent an email and they're like, oh, no one bought, it was a flop. And I'm like, first of all, that's no way to like show up in business every day. It's like, I did this one thing and it didn't work. Second of all, like what were we trying to get out of that? Like, yes, we want people to buy, but we also have kind of a longer vision for building a relationship with your audience. So, you know, that's the second thing. And then the other one is like just not being so concerned with each month. Like look at the trajectory, look at the seasons of your business. And so that's, you know, what I love about like that strategy piece of it is giving yourself grace and giving your business grace and just seeing that the trajectory is going up. So those are kind of the strategy pieces. And then I like to think of organizing. So it's great to have the strategies, but you know, what I work with clients on a lot is organization and like getting a clear focus and like action steps. So the first thing with organize is to pick your strategy. And I know it sounds so basic and eye roll, but like literally like pick your strategy, write it down, tell it to your husband, tell it to your sister, like tell it to someone. Make sure you can easily explain it, because if it's too complicated, then it's too much. And so that is something that like I think is so important, is to just really get clear on your strategy, get clear on your sales process, get clear on the client journey, and know those steps and how people move through that. And being able to like articulate that to someone and make sure that it's not like too random. Like you need to be able to see the dots connecting. So that's the thing with organize, is picking your strategy, and then how do you set up systems and processes to make this easy? Because this should be, if you're a paying team or you're spending your time on it, it needs to turn into a well-oiled machine that works for you. So figuring out systems and processes to make it easy, and that's something I really work with our one-to-one clients on, because everyone is so different. We have parents, we have people who are not parents, married or not, or have dogs and volunteer or whatever. Like, how do we make this fit for you? Because we are just all like, some people love one thing, some people love another thing. Like, it needs to feel good to them if they're going to keep doing it. And if they can, make sure they can see that like, this is the thing to get me results. Like, I'm not just sending an email. Like, I'm building a relationship. I'm creating a micro touch point for someone to get to know me and what I do. And so I just think that's so important. And so if you don't have systems and processes, please make sure that you're getting clear on those, because it'll just make your life so much easier. And that goes into taking out decision fatigue. Because if you're deciding every day, like, do I post today? Do I sell today? Am I sending an email this week? Or am I reaching out to people? Or am I going to go live? Like, there's so much shit. Like, I can barely even think about what I'm going to cook for dinner tonight. Like, I literally don't know. So if I had to think about all those things in my business every day, like, my mind would be blown. And I'm on client calls all day and supporting clients in that way. So like, I need to know like what is happening every day. Even if it's like, not just like, okay, on this day, this needs to happen, which is what I like to do. But if you have a flow where you're like, by the end of the week, these things need to have happened every week, like, go for it. It's just making sure that you're going all in on your strategy and you're setting yourself up for success. It's just like, I love working out analogies, but if you're like, I'm going to work out, but you really need to get clear on, okay, where are you working out? When are you working out? What type of workout? Like, you need to have all of that if you're going to actually work out. Because if you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know, am I just going to go to class this week? Or am I going to go for a run? Or, my friend and I are going to walk? Like, getting clear on what that looks like every week just makes it so much easier. And it's just the same in business. Like, make it easy on yourself. Like, motivation only gets us so far, because there are days where we are not motivated. Like, I am very motivated. Some days I'm just like, if this wasn't on autopilot, then like, it just would not be on my radar. So making that, set yourself up so that it can happen, and you're not just like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then there's no plan for that to actually happen. So and I love the saying, no one surprised themselves successful. I don't know if y'all have heard that. I can't remember where I got it from. It's not me. But no one surprised themselves successful. Like, that is such a beautiful reminder. Like, we are successful because we are intentional. We are successful and build revenue and take home pay because we set up this stuff and we intentionally built it that way. Like, that's why or one of the reasons I don't mind sitting here and talking about my revenue and sharing my numbers with you, because like, it's not like this was handed to me on a silver platter. Like, I've worked my ass off and I've set up systems and processes and like, all these things with team training and all these things. Like, I have worked, and it has worked for me. And so like, that's what I really want to remind people. Like, it's not like you just throw some spaghetti at the wall and you wake up one day and you're like, I'm a multi 6-figure, 7-figure business. Like, that's just not how it happens. And so anything you see out there that says that is just bullshit. I'm cussing more in this one than I normally do, but I get a little fired up about that. And definitely, like, it feels easeful. Like, it's not like it feels like a shit show every day, but like, it is work and I love it, but it's still work. And I'm still working to create multi 6 figures. So now for the last part, it's, I'm kind of going through my framework of mindset, strategy, organize, implement. So the last part is implement. And what I want to talk about, and for my business, for me, clients have a long journey in the sales process. Like, a lot of the clients I work with aren't really familiar with having a coach or working with someone one-to-one. that's just kind of a strange idea to them. Like, they're just kind of like, what the what? You know, like, what am I going to pay for? What do you do? And so I totally like don't see anything wrong with that. Like, I accept that. Like, I have people who follow me for a year or 2 years at this point, and like then they're finally like, oh shit, now I get it. Now I realize like why this is the thing. And so I don't make myself wrong, and I build that into my sales process, that it's like, oh yeah, people just might follow me and binge me for like a really long time before they feel comfortable being like, yeah, I want to work with you. So that is totally fine. And it's really helpful for me to know, like, a lot of my people want to DIY it. They want to do everything themselves. Or they're like, I'm going to take this course around this, or I'm going to go get more branding photos, or I'm going to redo my website. Like, they pay for all these things that like aren't moving the needle forward. Maybe it's giving them more revenue, but they're not seeing more take-home pay from that. They're trying to get all the information that's out there, and that is so, I admire that. Like, I love information. I love learning new things. But really what it is with my clients, it's usually like the implementation part is the kink in the hose. And it's being like, okay, I've gotten to this certain point and now it's like not moving. Nothing is budging. It might take home pay is not getting higher. So that's what we're looking at. Like, they're throwing spaghetti on the wall. They're just like doing all the things. They're looking at what everyone else is doing. They're looking for the answers out there. And then it's finally like, shit, I need someone in my corner that can look at my business with me and see it from a neutral standpoint, and we can look at the data together and we can get really clear on these things and organize it. That's just something I'm really good at doing. And so suffice that to say, with the implementation process, that is just for me personally. Now with you and your business, you know, that might look a little bit differently. So building, you know, your next level revenue or hitting those higher revenue months, that implementation process just might be different for you. Like, looking at your sales process and the journey, you know, just like, I'm not, you know, here coaching you one-to-one. So just think about in your business what that's like. But for me, I can just see like, okay, the results are here. It just takes my people a little bit longer to be like, damn, like, I'm tired. I've done a lot of things. Like, why isn't it working? And so that's just like the beauty of like talking to people and having my free calls and getting information, because I see so much of what they're doing, and I see the online space and just like what a shit show it can be. And so my job in my business is to know that this is a long process for them, and it's not a problem that I need to solve. You know, yes, I do have a faster sales kind of process with like people who are referred to me. So people who are referred by a CPA or a attorney, like those are people who refer a lot to me, just because like, you know, they have that other professional in their business and they're like, yeah, you could really, you know, use some help. And usually it's just kind of they book a call, we have a talk, and then we're working together. But for people that don't really know me or refer to me, you know, it's just like a longer process. And so it's not like something I need to like worry about and solve. And so, yeah, that's part of like the thing I put here. You know, my job is to stay in it and be consistent. And that's why I have the free call about consistent content, because I have seen that be so big, and the clients I work with be so big. Like, consistency is like like the name of the game. You know, like if you're always on and off, like you're losing that momentum constantly. So if I tap out, and one day I'm just like, fuck it, you know, like whatever, and I tap out for a couple months, you know, that really loses the momentum that I've built. Let's see. And it loses the trust that I've built. So something I recently heard someone say was about like giving away too much, or you don't want to give it away at all. And, you know, my thought is like, information is out there. Like, you can Google anything. You can pull up the, you know, chat GPT and, you know, ask it to write a job description for you. Like, information is out there. But like, it's so disposable. So like, my clients and yours aren't hiring you because of their information. They're hiring you because you give them something that like Google and YouTube can't. So just thinking about it that way in your business for implementation. just like reading my notes. Like they hire us for the implementation part. They hire us for the staying in it, for the doing it part. You know, like I said, we're using data. We're like staying in a neutral place to make decisions. Because I really want to give people like $10,000 of value before they ever pay me a dime. I want them to like book new clients or just have a transformation or think of things differently before they even like pay me anything. So that's just really important for me to talk about with the implementing piece is just seeing how you support your clients and the people that you serve before they even pay you, like making sure that you're showing up and implementing so that they can trust you and, you know, learn to want to work with you. But yeah, that's what I put about, you know that it's not about the information you give, it's about the transformation. So that's something I talk about in my calls. I'm looking at my notes. I think I wrote too many notes. Let's see. And that's the other thing with implementing is making sure that you have the systems and processes set up first. Because a lot of times people in their schedule, they're like, okay, I literally need to build time into my schedule for writing content, for selling, for personal outreach. I need to build that space into my schedule first and set up the systems and processes. And then if you still aren't doing it, look at like why. Because that's when a lot of people come to me too is like, okay, I am not selling. I know it should be, and I show up online a certain number of times a week, but like something's holding me back from selling. And so that's something that we really get to dig into. So if you're thinking about that implementing piece and like, if you don't have the strategy and the infrastructure set up, first go to that, excuse me. And then if you're still not doing it, look at that, like kind of what's holding you back. Like, is there something sticky there? Because you can go online and you can take a million courses about how to show up for a live stream, but like if you feel so uncomfortable or unworthy or whatever showing up for a live stream, that like you can buy 10 of those and it's not gonna like make you show up for a live stream. So that is the piece I really invite you to look at too with implementation is like, okay, do you have the structure for it? And then if so, and you're still not doing it, what's underneath that? So I think that's it. Looking through my notes. Sorry, you're getting like the side of my face and my nose and everything. But I'm really excited to share this with you today. And if you're sitting there and you're like, dang, Jordan, I feel called out. You know, like I don't have the systems and processes set up. I'm not clear on my strategy. Or, you know, I kind of think about it and then I kind of try something and it doesn't work immediately and then I give up. Or I keep looking online and like this person's saying to do this and then this person's saying to do this, or I've downloaded this course and I haven't done it yet, but I don't know if it's going to help or not. Or, you know, dang, I did just buy a new website and now I don't know how to direct traffic to it. Or I just got these new branding photos, but I have no system or process to how I'm going to post them and get them out to people. I hear you, I got you. And, you know, all the talk I talk about getting consistent, like I'm walking my walk. I've got the free call, consistent content for consistent 5-figure months because I believe in it so much. It is free. It is 30 minutes. I'll drop the link below, but you sign up and you will create, we'll create some magic on this. So you'll walk away with some kind of transformation or action steps. I love these calls. I always feel really energized and good after them because I can just see it on people's faces, what a difference. They're like, oh, shit, I never thought of that before. Or yeah, that's, you know, like it's just this ideating together, talking about their business and having another brain and someone who's worked, you know, I build my own multi-6-figure business. I work with countless clients to do the same and more. Like I have clients that make more than me. And, you know, just having my background, you know, in their corner, on their side, just makes a huge difference. So I'm going to drop the link below. Again, leave a comment. You'll be entered to win the masterclass, and I'll be back next Wednesday. So happy February. I'll see y'all next week.